of practices, then I
Hmm.
think you'd learn a lot more about
Oh, I
your
would
belief
learn. Okay.
or
Okay,
unlearn.
cult brain. No
You think it's
thanks.
a cult?
I think that's a culty way of thinking. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
but meditation has nothing to do with being in a cult. It's a thing any human can do, regardless of whether you're
Culty,
following
culty,
the system or
culty.
not.
When you start talking about
No, you're
choosing what you
wrong. You're
believe,
wrong.
when
You're
you
wrong.
start
You're
choosing, when
wrong.
you start talking about choosing what you believe, alarm bells start going off in my head, and you're like, you could learn about it. And I was like, learn. Well, learn. What does learn mean? That means you're gonna put stuff. That
Well,
means
your
you're gonna
current
put stuff in.
This guy's so creepy. The fuck, man? Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Ah, fuck. It's just it's so fucking weird. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. What if we watch the Dylan Burns versus Haas debate right now? Yeah, I have to upload this shit now. He already uploaded his. I have to upload mine right now. But which one do I fucking upload? Which one do I actually fucking upload? So there's here, and there's like a bunch of them, you know? Let's see. So this is his POV. Oh, this is the full thing, isn't it? Was it only 22 minutes? What is this shit they gave me? This is a really weird VOD they gave me. They gave me like a really weird one. Okay, here it is. It's one continuity. Okay. So we're gonna watch it together for now, and then we're gonna watch it actually, and I'll know like which ones to do. Which one? Um, I just show it like this. We'll just react to it together and I'll upload it tonight. This is not a discussion. This was not a discussion.
There will be opening statements and then some back and forth between the two and then questions and answers. The biggest thing we have going with us here is one of our participants does have a flight this afternoon, so we will have a hard end time. What time do you want that, Chris?
I have it listed as 2:30 that we need to leave to get. Is that right?
Yeah. Is there a printer here, by the way?
I have no idea. For the
Boarding
hotel,
pass.
they probably have one.
You can ask at the desk.
No, it wasn't 22 minutes. It's just like it was broken up, the parts.
Okay.
We'll end it at 2:15.
Are you ready to go otherwise? Or you?
Yeah. I'm sure at the airport they'll take care of me.
Okay. Oh yeah, you can get a
Yeah.
boarding pass printed at the airport. But
Yeah.
you're packed or you checked out or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'll start with opening statements. So then we'll do some back and forth, and then we'll do some questions. Excuse me, I'll do my second job, bartending here for the town. As with all debates here, just keep it respectful. Attack the arguments as hard as you want to. No personal attacks. Those will be the only questions I cut off from the audience members. You two, it's up to you two to defend yourselves unless you ask for specific moderation at that point. But
You guys are gonna see the entire everything. I mean, not everything because we're gonna skip some parts for Twitch, but you'll see everything how it happened.
between you two, topic is Taiwan.
Okay.
Should be interesting.
Context: 1 hour of sleep. Had just debated Destiny, and I got a flight to catch, and I just do not really want to be here. And my patience is thinning. Just like my hair.
Is that better?
It's much better.
Is that better for the cameras?
Oh, for the camera.
I mean, I assume.
Yeah, I'm not in front of the camera, so it's perfect.
Okay.
1 second.
After the opening statements, we'll jump right into them. Like I said, Q&A with a hard close time. If you help me keep track of that, 2:15, 14:15 for that.
Got it.
With that, who would like to go first?
I'm fine either way.
You go ahead.
Okay. The history of Taiwan is a history of struggle, whether it be the indigenous peoples' movements against the Qing dynasty, which they struggled dearly. I believe one of the phrases was every 3 years an insurrection, every 5 years an uprising, all the way to modern ages as they try to make.
So the way they filmed it was that they didn't like take turns filming POVs. They either only filmed me or only filmed Dylan. And if you wanted to get both, you have to edit it. I don't have time to do that.
bulwark against an.
Let me actually see the one on how did he do it on his channel. Okay,
No, you're not interrupting me, okay? I'm talking.
How the fuck did he get that one? How did he get that one?
Whether you like it or not. So
Where did he get that one? I have to ask. So we can see both of us, but you can't even see him. I'm gonna have to ask them how to do that. It's so weird.
Invading force which has consistently tried to be aggressive against the new state of a democratic republic.
That channel was a illicit Twitch channel when he was filming that from the back. This was not the official filming
Of China. If the question is Taiwan a part of China? The answer is yes. It is part of the Republic of China, Taiwan. When we talk about the justification from a historical perspective, you could look at the resistance movement against Japanese.
No, he didn't use the illegal live stream. I looked at it. It's not.
Spanish, Dutch,
And women push P, of course. They can. Why the fuck wouldn't they?
and Chinese imperialism in
It's not from the audience guy.
what you can call Taiwan, what you can call the government in Taipei, or even the Republic of Formosa, if we're talking about the Japanese. It has a history of democracy. If you look at the Republica Formosa, the declaration that they put out, it was very
Yeah, this guy's so weird. He's got like all these managers that do all this shit. He's like a kid. You know, he was in high school like 2 years ago. He's like a kid. He's being propped up. They trying to make him a thing. I don't believe he's a thing. I don't agree he's a thing. They trying to make him a thing and prop him up, and I don't buy it. You know, me, I don't got managers. I don't got coaches. I'm a self-made man. I'm probably one of the only self-made men on this fucking political platform. I don't got coaches. I don't got managers. I don't got optics people. I'm just a random dude who hits the fucking live button. You understand? And everyone's like, how's your loud cow? How's your loud cow? Any person who just hits the live button and bees themselves is going to end up being a lol cow, okay? Unless you have managers and you have like you have all these people, agents and shit, you're gonna have like chaotic optics.
In nature. It was, we are establishing a republic in here to defend against the Japanese invaders. That was in 1895. And when we talk about the modern history of Taiwan, it is a struggle to not only develop an identity, which is a new one that is Taiwanese in nature. When the vast majority of the population now identify as Taiwanese, they have their own language, they have their own currency, they have their own judicial system, they have their own military, they have their own laws, they have really their own nation. But it's not a nation in the eyes of some. Why? Because they're playing pretend. They're playing pretend. If I was to take out this phone in my pocket and say, this is not a phone, now it functions in every way as a phone. I can turn it on, I can text, I can call, I can do all these things, but it's not a phone. I am not being honest with you. I'm lying for any number of reasons. In this case, people are lying because they don't want to piss off the People's Republic of China, the mainland government. Now let's talk about...
I actually think I did better in both the debates because of the sleep deprivation. You know, because I'm an overthinker. I overthink things by nature. I was watching back the Destiny debate, and it's just like with this debate. I don't know if I would have responded to this as well as I did if I had full sleep. When I have full sleep, I overthink shit a lot. But when I have 1 hour of sleep, for some reason, I just know what to say, you know?
About the conclusions if someone was to say, you know what, I disregard the historical basis for Taiwan's independence struggle and the indigenous community or its own language.
That is so beautiful how things just turn out to work well, you know? It's almost like there's a reason I couldn't sleep. It's like my body's telling me, trust me, dude, this is good for you, you know?
Identity that's developed or the fact that they want their own democracy. I disregard the historical basis. Let's talk about the reality of disregarding that historical basis and saying that the Taiwanese cannot have their own state, and this is merely an internal affair. Taiwan is a nation of 25 million people. It is one of the most dense nations on earth, 17 when it comes to density. If you listen to the Taipei Times, it's actually first if you exclude mountainous regions. Syria was 20 million, and it ranked 67th on the density scale. If we were to drop our support for Taiwan, the likelihood of war would skyrocket, as the leverage that Taiwan has in upholding its democracy would vanish. And a war across the Taiwan Strait would be an absolute disaster. Not only would a refugee...
You could just see... you could just look at my face, and you just know I fucking hate this guy. I hate having to sit and listen to this fucking guy. I just... Shut the fuck up, you know? Taiwan! What the fuck does this guy give a shit about Taiwan so much, you know? Just hearing him pissed me off. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Get your fucking... I can't call him names. But let's just say, like, hypothetically, it's like there's just a swamp monster from wherever is trying to get in that side of the world's business. Like, who the fuck are you, dude? Shut the fuck up about Taiwan. You know? I have access to Taiwan. Taiwan is mine. I have access to it. It is mine. It's about me. I am the manager of Taiwan. I am the leader of Taiwan. Everyone will listen to what I say. China will listen to me. You know what I mean?
Refugee crisis spiral out of control worse than what we saw in Syria, but America would actually be one of the prime recipients.
I think unconsciously I'm getting triggered when I'm hearing about Syria. When this guy is trying to talk about my homeland, and yes, I believe in greater Syria, so that is my homeland. I'm a Syrian. Lebanon's a fake country. Syria is my fucking homeland. Hearing this the idea that this person can speak upon my homeland, the Levant, the greater Syria, and yes, Lebanon's a fake country. It's called greater Syria. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? He's talking about come to Syria, come to Lebanon, come to the Levant. You know what I mean? Dylan's the big man in Syria. Dylan's gonna try to be the big man in Syria. Hey. I'm just think of like I'm with my grandparents or with my extended family and shit, and this Dylan Burns dude is coming through trying to tell us what to do. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things. It's like I'm with my people, not even my family, just I'm with my people, and a dude who looks like Dylan Burns walks in with his notebook and his binder, and he's gonna order us around and decide what's gonna happen for us, right? So fucking infuriating. It's so just thinking about that pisses me. Not that he would succeed. Of course he would not succeed. I mean, I can't even say what would happen to him. But the idea of it is infuriating. The idea that he would have the audacity to try that is infuriating. What the fuck happened? Ones if there's no problem. Ones if you can still watch the stream right now. Okay. This weird federal account. Who is this? Traversy Media. This is one of those things you go down the rabbit hole on the internet and you find out they're connected to fucking Jeffrey Epstein and weird CIA shit. Who the fuck is this? What is this? Oh, they're based? Well, they commented on the video, apparently.
The KMT.
Oh, he was talking shit about me. He's like, Dylan, I want you to knock him around. I bet you anything he can't fight.
Recipient of refugees. Because
Yeah. Well, you can literally see the comment.
the Taiwanese community has deep ties to California.
People are saying the same shit about me that they say about Jake Paul. You can't. What happens, bro? You know what I mean? Look, I get it. People have this idea on the internet. Like, if you're an asshole and you talk a lot of shit, the reality is you can't fight. Actually, I can be an asshole who talks a lot of shit and can also, in a legal sanction setting, beat the fuck out of you. And that pisses them off so much. That's why they want Jake Paul to lose all the time. Because you're not supposed to be able to hit all three of those, you know?
California, and many of them would be feeling persecution, political persecution that is, from the government coming in. That is something we would have to feel the full effects of.
Thank you so much, Patriot.
Donated $5. Great job at the debates.
Thank you, Patriot. Thank you so much, man.
The semiconductor industry, which the world relies on, when one company within Taiwan, the TMSC, produces 50% of the foundries necessary for semiconductor production, that would take a hit. International trade would take a hit. Our trade...
1 hour of sleep and my head is taking notes. I'm like, okay, this point, I'm going to destroy every single one.
With that nation would take away. America's reputation would take a hit. Not to even talk about the civil liberties that the Taiwanese have fought against.
See how I'm taking notes?
Say, Chiang Kai-shek, for example, to develop. That's another thing. Many people will talk about the white...
Yeah, my hair looks like shit in this. I'm wondering when I should just go bald or shave it down. The time is coming soon, I think, that I'm just going to start going super short. I don't know how long I can keep... To be fair, this was bed hair, so that's that. This was also bed hair. This was bed hair, so I didn't get to shower and... Yeah, LA did a number on my hair, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I got COVID, had a lot of stress, whatever. We'll see.
Terror or Chiang Kai-shek's government or the brutality of it, and will use that as a justification to delegitimize the Taiwanese people and their struggle for independence. Well, that's interesting, since the people that Chiang Kai-shek purged first were the independence advocates. Chiang Kai-shek wanted to reconquer the mainland, and so he purged the indigenous people's advocates for an independent Taiwan. And those people fought for years to have a democratic Taiwan with its own system of government. So I'm not going to ramble anymore. I have a lot of points I want to go into and a lot of questions for Haas about the conclusions that would come from his worldview here. But I'll just stop.
Oh my god.
Stop it there.
You guys want to know what's hilarious? How does a guy like me end up next to that guy? I'm not supposed to even be there. I'm just this random dude who like spent 2 years studying occult mysticism and fucking sacred geopolitics, whatever. Like, why? I'm not even supposed to be here, you know? Do you know how fucking esoteric this man is right here? You know how fringe and esoteric this man's interests and specialties are? And I'm literally just, I'm LARPing as a political Twitch streamer. Bro, no matter how funny you guys find it, it will never be as funny to you as it will be for the other Infrared Collective members. I'm going out debating Destiny and Dylan Burns, Bosch. This is high-level trolling, bro. You know the only people who are like Infrared is Leibach. You know what Leibach is? The NSK Art Collective Leibach. They're doing some similar shit as us, but we're better at it than them. Because they're still very avant-garde and shit, and, you know, high class. We actually do get down and dirty. Like, you know what I mean? I'm literally a fucking mystic LARP. I'm a fucking occult, esoteric, fringe mystic LARPing as a fucking political Twitch streamer. Yeah, I know they played in North Korea. I know who they are. I know everything about them. I may even know them. Who knows? Oh.
So there's 3 points I want to address amidst all of that. Firstly, let me preface this by saying there is absolutely no historical basis for the region of Taiwan.
It's called I'll play their music. I'll play their music. Leibach. You just look it up on Spotify. This is actually a bass song. This was the song made for Julian Assange. It was made for Julian Assange.
We rise, we grow, we walk and we stand tall. We never fall, as big as the sky, as far as the dawn. We walk and we do not fall. We sleep, we dream, with no time in between. We never stop, whistling or chanting the heat of the night. We sing, the spirit is clean, from north and south.
The music video for this is actually pretty cool. It's like very Eastern Bloc. Here, let me show you. It's actually an interesting video. It's like a youth camp from communist times.
To be a separate country from China. The history of the relationship between the Han Chinese and the indigenous people of Taiwan is a rather interesting one. The only problem is that Taiwan is currently around 98 to 99% Han Chinese. So there's absolutely no basis in the historically indigenous people of Taiwan for the indigenous, for an independence movement. As a matter of fact, some of the most renowned indigenous politicians within Taiwan are the most ardent advocates for unification and anti-independence. So it's rather interesting that the indigenous people of Taiwan, by and large, are against independence, whereas some Han liberal elites within Taiwan, pro-American, are the most in favor of independence. So
this was the hotel hall, and I lied about the location. I said on stream that it's across the street because I didn't want to dox where I was staying and sleeping. It's just something I do. But yeah, this was all in one hotel. We were all in the same hotel. And the conference halls were all in the same place too.
Talk of the indigenous struggle against the Qing or the Han Chinese is a complete nonsensical non-factor in the question of whether Taiwan is a country or not, because indigenous people do not factor whatsoever in the question of whether Taiwan is an independent country. Now, second of all, in the history, I will concede that politics has often...
I did forget to bring up an important thing about the Ming loyalists who fled to Taiwan, which cemented the actual foundation of the state of of Taiwan as a territory. It was always an outpost for like Greater China. Even when the Ming loyalists fled after the Qing, they set it up as a base of operations for the Southern Song dynasty. The Song dynasty. I don't. Is it the Ming or the Song? I don't know. I remember. But it's like it's never been a place where it's like, oh, we're just going to have Taiwan. No, it's always been like a base.
Sometimes played a role in defining nations.
Yeah, T-Jump was circle jerking with Dylan, and T-Jump said some passive-aggressive shit at the end. He was like, oh, so he wanted to fight you until he could learn he could fight. And they were all like chuckling. And then I went up to him, and I said, do you fucking think a fight is the same as a boxing match? Don't act like he wanted to fight you like a street fight, and then when he found out, he pussied out. He accepted a boxing match under the condition of 1 month of training. Then when he found out you had 1 year of experience, he had to reconsider. There's nothing wrong with that. Is that embarrassing, T-Jump? You know, I saw that T-Jump guy in person. I disrespected T-Jump in our debate. And yet the guy groveled at my feet, more or less, when I met him in person. He just groveled before me. Hey, Haas, I'm T-Jump. I'm the guy you debated. I was so disrespectful to him. But in person, he groveled before me. And he didn't say shit. Low T-Jump. I don't know. I would never say that. But, well, I would say because he's low. He's low. It has nothing to do with, he's low. He's low in debate skills, right?
States. France was a historically united region based on the Kingdom of France and the common shared language, customs, etc. But it did not become a nation state until it was united by the Republican ideals of the French Revolution. So I will concede that politics often plays a part, politics and religion, in the formation of nations. The only problem is that China is not just a nation. It is not a nation state. It is a 5,000-year-long civilization that has endured many different types of political systems and political forms, while nonetheless maintaining being the one country of China, the one civilization of China. Zhongguo, the middle kingdom of the world, basically, is how it conceived itself. So this 5,000-year-long civilization is not reducible to a certain political project or a political ideal, which is actually something the nationalists like Chiang Kai-shek were able to respect and acknowledge throughout the entirety of the Republic of China's struggle against the People's Republic, a civil war that technically did not end. Both Chiang Kai-shek...
What happened to the rest of the Infrared Collective? Nothing happened to them. If you ping them on the Discord, they'll respond to you. Some people are doing school stuff. Evans in Africa, if you remember him, others are busy, preoccupied with work, and they're working on scripts and videos and shit, you know? I think most of the infrared people are in school right now. They're busy, they have lives, you know? You ask where are they? Because I give you attention every single day, because I'm live almost every single day. I have something going on every single day. But the truth is, if I wasn't streaming, we would be just as quiet. You would get like a new video once every month or 2 months, and you wouldn't hear from any of us. You hear from me a lot because I stream every day.
And Mao Zedong recognized that there is one China. They were merely disagreeing over who should rule that one China. And the independence movement of Taiwan has never...
The next video, I think, is being completed. It's almost done, I think. I think they're at the stage of adding content to it. They're at the stage of adding content. So the next one is going to be... it's going to be about the Chinese social credit system.
Popular. It's always been a marginal phenomena. A phenomena we can infer was definitely propped up by the Americans. Chiang Kai-shek himself had to butt heads with the Americans and engage in minor diplomatic conflicts with the Americans, who were pushing independence. The founding mission of the Kuomintang, sorry if I mispronounce it, the KMT, was one China. The notion that Taiwan would become an independent effaces the very foundation of Taiwan as a so-called separate country from the People's Republic. The founding mission of the Kuomintang was based on the ideals of Sun Yat-sen for the unification and rejuvenation of the 5,000-year-long Chinese civilization on the basis of the ideals of the modern world. Now, finally, the notion that a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, a Chinese invasion of China, in other words, would lead to a refugee crisis, assumes that the people of Taiwan, the Chinese people of Taiwan, are willing to fight to defend the status quo that is now in place. Every form of research and study that has been conducted among the people of Taiwan has shown that they are not willing to take up arms, they are not willing to have any bloodshed to prevent unification with China. So there's no impetus for the people of Taiwan why would there be refugees when there would be no conflict to begin with? China, if hypothetically this would happen, would simply come in. And finally, I want to make one last point. The notion that Taiwan's current constitution and laws and whatever would be destroyed upon unification gravely misunderstands the current Chinese system. The Chinese system, the precedent set by Hong Kong, is of one country, two systems. Many different systems can exist under the sovereignty of one China. And China has expressed, the People's Republic of China has expressed its fullest intention to allow the people of Taiwan to maintain their specific system so long as they acknowledge there is only one China. I rest my case.
So the first thing I want to say, so there's a bunch of things that were wrong there, but I'm just going to start with the indigenous communities. The indigenous community make up 2% of the population. That is true, okay, if we're just talking about people who are just primarily indigenous, if we're not talking about people who are culturally indigenous, or we're talking about interfaith marriages and the children. We're just going to talk about the 2%. They make up 2% of the population, yet 60% of the nation's special elite forces. 60%. They make up an extremely disproportionate amount of the nation's military. The military...
Yeah, wait until you see how he self-owns himself by bringing this up. It's such a fucking self-own. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
That defends Taiwan. The indigenous community, which you say, oh, many of them love the idea of Chinese invasion or China coming or any of these things.
Not what I said.
They vastly support Taiwan being independent, number one. And number two, they're overrepresented when it comes...
You see why I'm wasting time now? Because instead of running in my head like, oh, I have to remember this, fuck it. I'm just gonna fucking go ahead and just be like, you're fucking wrong, dude. He's like... But the indigenous people in Taiwan are in the armed forces. So that means that, yeah, they may be anti-communist historically, but they're KMT loyalists. They're anti-independence.
To the military, and if you talk about them being KMT loyalists, that's true. A lot of people
the KMT wants one China.
Stop interrupting me, Hans. Okay, this isn't the internet. We're in person. Act like a civil person.
So what? I don't care if it's not on the internet. Why do I give a shit?
Okay, calm down, Hans, please. Anyway, the indigenous community are overrepresented.
You know what's funny? He keeps telling me to calm down, and yet I'm perfectly calm, and he's very nervous. He's like, look how he's talking. He's talking. I could literally sense his heart rate pumping, and I am as calm as fucking. You know, what is something that's calm? I'm as fucking calm as a lotus on a pond. I'm just fucking calm as shit. And he's like, really? He's like really getting, he's getting gassed. You know?
In the military because they're willing to defend Taiwan and the system of governance that has slowly evolved across the Taiwan Strait.
Studies show otherwise.
That's not true. By the way, the studies you reference when it comes to, but the Taiwanese people would not defend. According to...
They would not. In the absence of an American help, they're not going to fucking do shit. 1,000%.
Taipei Times, 2/3 of the population of Taiwan have said they'd be willing to pick up arms in defense of Taiwan. 2/3 of the population.
That's bullshit.
That's just true.
That's 100% bullshit. If the Taipei Times has said 2/3 of the people of
because studies show the opposite. Studies show they're not willing. Taiwan survey that it's not worth bloodshed. They said independence is not worth war. They said they would prefer not for China to come in, but if it came down to preventing bloodshed with no American help, they would not. So here we go. How Taiwan citizenry plan to respond to war is not reassuring. On the one hand, 11% will join the military, 11% will support the war effort, and 10% will follow government orders. No, this is a... Oh, no, guys. Look how I didn't have to give any source, and I was automatically right. I just Googled it, right? Look, just look at this, right? This is the best shit I've ever seen, bro. Look at this. 2020 survey includes a question about cross-strait conflict. How Taiwan citizenry plan to respond to war is not reassuring. And I just told them to Google it. On the one hand, 11% will join the military. 11% will support the war effort. 10% will follow government orders. 21% will go about their daily lives and or do nothing. 11% will flee to another country. 24% said they don't know. So it's fucking stupid. The joke writes itself, right? The joke writes itself, okay? The joke writes itself.
Taiwan are willing to take up arms. The Taipei Times is lying.
Well, then you're lying to me right now. That's just true.
Well,
11% said they would join the military if something happened. So yes, they're not going to take up arms.
There's no way for us to independently verify this right now. So
anybody can Google it.
Google it.
Everybody at home.
I just Googled it right now. I literally just Googled it for you.
People then Google it at home.
2/3.
Look up actual. Look up
Taiwan.
Based.
Boxing is such a meme now. I no longer take it as a serious fight between two individuals.
Thank you, Electron, I guess. The poll he's talking about was from literally like 3 weeks ago. I have it right here, the Taipei Times. And it's from December 30th, 2021. Every other poll shows ambivalence by the Chinese people of Taiwan. But this is like the only one that indicates the contrary. So you do the fucking math. Did something suddenly change in the last year or a few months? Or maybe there's some flaws in this poll. I'm going to call bullshit and say there's flaws in the poll. Okay, this is the one I was looking for. Yeah, they're not willing to risk independence if it means war. Try to be the first one. I can't. I'm not going to be able to upload this until tomorrow. I mean, and that's conservative too, because actually, let me just have my editor. I'm going to send it to him.
If you were here
Fuck. Where were we?
Are the most in favor of independence. So this talk of the indigenous struggle against the Qing or the Han Chinese is a complete nonsensical non-factor in the question of whether Taiwan is a country or not, because indigenous people do not factor whatsoever in the question of whether Taiwan. Historically, nation state until Chiang Kai-shek is so long
to pick up arms in defense of Taiwan. 2/3 of the population.
That's bullshit.
That's just true.
That's 100% bullshit. If the Taipei Times has said 2/3 of the people of Taiwan are willing to take up arms, the Taipei Times is lying.
Well, then you're lying to me right now. That's just true.
Well, there's no way for us to independently verify this right now. So
anybody can Google it.
Google it.
Everybody at home.
Then Google it at home.
2/3.
Look up
that
actual,
amazing?
look up
Such
informed
dedication to the
studies.
The Taipei, the Taipei Times shit is bullshit. 100% bullshit.
The surveys have shown, the polling has shown, people in Taiwan are not willing to risk any bloodshed in the midst of a Chinese People's Republic of China.
Just not true. 2/3 of the population.
You have you have one source and multiple sources.
But you haven't even. Okay, source one study then.
I'm
The TNSS. I just named it right now. The TNSS source.
Google it at home.
Yeah.
Funded by Radio Free Asia and the NED. Oh my god.
Okay, so I have one
It's so neutral.
source. You have no source.
Oh, you brought a fucking binder.
This is the biggest debate fallacy of all fucking time. I have a source and you have no source. It's like if I literally bring a piece of shit and slam it on the table and call it my source, and you don't have anything, do I win? That's not how it fucking works. If you have a source and I don't have a source, that doesn't mean the burden is shifted to me to provide a source. You have to prove your source is fucking reliable in the first place. That's how it actually works. I don't have to provide any fucking source.
And I came empty-handed. Good luck.
Well, that's your fault. You
Yeah.
should have come prepared.
Well, actually,
Communist work
Dylan, the
ethic.
thing is, I don't need a binder. That's the thing. I don't need to take notes.
Communist work ethic, huh?
Yeah. Listen, the thing is, I don't need a binder. I don't need to cite a one study from the Taipei Times. To the extent of my familiarity, the people of Taiwan are not. No, it's up to the audience to independently verify it. I can trust that I'll come out on the right when it comes to that.
I'm sure you will. Okay, so when it comes to the KMT,
And I actually did.
the KMT has lost the 2 elections. When it comes to the
But
idea
the
that
indigenous support the KMT.
Geez, let me finish.
Wait, you
let
can't-
me finish.
you
No,
made
you're not
one
interrupting me. Okay, I'm talking whether you like it or not. So the KMT, this is about a different point. So this is why I can calm down. The KMT, when it comes to the independence struggle and whether independence is popular, have lost the last 2 elections. Tsai Ing-wen has won the last 2 elections in decent amounts in the Democratic Progressive Party, which is the party that she's a part of, is the Independence Party, the pro-independence Party, and she has stated on multiple occasions and has been re-elected on the platform of Taiwan does not need to declare independence for we are already independent. She points to the judicial system. She points to the military. She points to the language. She points to a separate history. She points to all these things.
It's literally just like Nick Land becoming a fucking Jordan Peterson figure. That's how niche my background is. I'm not even lying.
For a justifiable reason to show that Taiwan is independent and the world is a
You gotta work on your body language. You gotta work on your ban appeal because you just fucking got banned. If I have 1 hour of sleep, my body language is gonna show that I'm tired. But your criticism is actually what I hate the most in life. Chatters who act like they're my friend, who try to give me advice or try to think they know better than me, they know more than me, they don't know fucking shit. I hate them more than anyone. I hate them more than my enemies.
Holding a facade that it isn't an independent nation. They're pretending. The thing is, if I go to Taiwan, Haas, and I call the Chinese police, the mainland Chinese police, if I'm getting mugged, they're not going to
This was the most stupid fucking point I've ever heard in my life. This is literally the dumbest point I've ever heard in weeks. And that's saying something.
show up. You know what's going to show up? The Taiwanese police.
In a region of China, it would work the same exact way. You're not going to call.
Hans, if I go to Michigan and call the LAPD, they're not going to show up. It's so that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. It's so fucking stupid. It's the dumbest shit I ever heard. Okay, I'll talk to Mr. Girl, but I want him to. I'm not gonna go to him. Okay, I'm not gonna go to him to talk.
Call the region in southern China if you're in northern China. What a stupid point. Second of all,
wait, are you really saying that the Chinese government has authority over the Taiwanese government?
It doesn't have authority in Hong Kong.
No, shut the fuck up, dude.
It doesn't have authority in Hong Kong.
It doesn't have authority.
No,
in
it
Hong
doesn't.
Kong. Wait, you're telling me? Are you telling me? Yeah, it does.
It has an
He's the
extradition.
bigger streamer. You have to ask him. No, I don't. Watch me not.
Sends agents into Hong Kong. Don't yell at
the
me.
The U.S. sends agents.
Lower your voice.
The U.S.
Okay?
So the most pathetic thing I've ever encountered Is Dylan pathetically trying to be like, lower your voice, Haas? Or what, bitch? What the fuck are you gonna do about it? Lower my voice.
The U.S. sends agents all over the world. So
Lower
what?
your voice. But they do it because they're trying to exert.
See how I'm looking at it? It's all in my, it's all in this face I'm giving him. It's like when he says lower your voice, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because it kind of sounds like you're making it seem like you got some shit to do about it. You don't tell someone lower your voice and not be able to do nothing about it. Like, what do you, or what?
Their direct authority.
China has agents
and
in Taiwan.
It is slowly absorbing.
China has
not
agents
to mention
in
the
Taiwan.
fact that they are trying to enforce their authority. For example, in Hong Kong, let's talk about the two.
China has
the one
agents
country,
in Hong Kong.
Let's talk about the
in
one
Taiwan.
country, two systems. He thinks is so favorable, even though the Taiwanese people are horrified at the notion. Definitely after developments.
Because of the fucking media? Of course, they're horrified when the media fucking spins it in the way they do.
In Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, due to recent legislation that was passed, if you boo the Chinese national anthem, you can actually go to prison for that due to national security legislation that the Chinese government has put in there.
There's similar laws in South Korea.
That came from, and I disagree with those laws. And that
I don't give a fuck if you disagree with them. There's nothing exceptional about China that makes that the case.
came from.
So why are you blaming the People's Republic? That's
because
Asian
that came
culture.
from. Because
that's
that
part
came
of
from
East Asian culture.
But
You don't
not,
disrespect
wait, not
the national
Taiwanese
anthem.
culture. If
Actually, it is part of Taiwanese culture. It's just that they had a color revolution light. It wasn't a revolution, but it was like a color revolution type of change they had recently against the KMT, backed by America in the West, which made it more liberalized. Under the KMT, that shit would be illegal. 1,000%.
If I go to Taiwan and I say, fuck Taiwan, fuck the government.
Yeah, under the actual KMT, which is the whole basis of Taiwan being a thing, that would not be allowed. If you say fuck Taiwan, you're saying fuck China, and they're not going to tolerate that shit. Taiwan became cucked for the same reason Japan did. It's an American colony now. And I want to preface something. Taiwan, under the KMT, was not an American colony. It was supported by America for the Cold War, but Chiang Kai-shek was his own man. However much we condemn and disagree with Chiang Kai-shek, he was his own man. He was not answerable to the Americans. He was not answerable to the Japanese. He was answerable to nobody. He was his own man. He was an actual independent leader. Recently, the Americans have backed a semi-color revolution in Taiwan to liberalize it, aka surrender the Taiwan's sovereignty to American globalism.
The national anthem, they won't arrest me because they have a dedication to democracy, unlike the mainland government.
That's only recently because of liberalization efforts that came at the expense of the status quo with the KMT. But moreover, there's a number of points you weaseled your way out of. So I want to pin you down on those points. So first of all, you claimed that, first you made the claim that the overwhelming majority of the armed forces are made up by indigenous people.
I never said that. I said the special forces.
The special forces. That's not because they're pro-independence. They have always been a stronghold of KMT loyalism and fierce anti-independence.
I don't care what anyone says. At this specific point in the debate, Dylan got fucking wrecked. I mean, at that point in the debate, I won. Right then and there.
Sentiment. So it's a complete non-point. You mentioned the president of Taiwan say that we're already a country, we want to maintain the status quo. Then maintain the status quo. But try to change your official name to the Republic of Taiwan and see what will happen. It is the Republic of China that is the current status quo. She's saying we basically function already as another country. That's her opinion. See what happens when they try to make that formal or official, and see what the response is going to be from China. If Taiwan attempts to pursue secession from China, China will act swiftly in response. And the U.S. can't do a goddamn thing about it, whether you like it or not.
Military planners disagree with you, but that's besides the point. We're not talking.
They can't do a fucking thing. They're not going to risk a nuclear war for Taiwan. They're bluffing, And if they try to confront China in a non-total war, but a localized war, China will fucking wreck the U.S. If the U.S. doesn't get to use its weapons of mass destruction in the Strait, China's gonna fucking wreck the U.S. So it's either gonna be an apocalypse, which the U.S. elites are not gonna risk for Taiwan, or it's going to be a more localized conflict that's not a form of total war, in which case China will roll the U.S. It will fucking destroy the U.S. I thought the kid was a supporter of peace. He's not. He's a really creepy new specimen of lefty plus neocon. The worst thing you could be.
We're not talking about strategy. I'm sure you're not a military general, okay? No matter how many Soviet caps you put on. Okay?
Then just wait.
Based
From the perspective of strategy, thank you, Ten Marku. Does it take a genius to recognize? Okay, I'm going to show you a map. Ready, guys? Now, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be insane. I'm going to show you something pretty fucking wild. So this is the mainland, and this is Taiwan. The USA is here. So from the perspective of military strategy, I'm pretty sure this big-ass country can just eat this country. And this country here can't do a fucking thing about it. I'm pretty sure it's actually as simple as that. I'm pretty sure it's literally that simple, you know? I'm pretty sure it's that simple, you know?
We will wait a few years and we'll see what happens. Anyway, when it comes to the idea that the indigenous community, they don't support an independent Taiwan, even though they were at the front and center of every single independent struggle in Taiwanese.
Sir Wanger donated $5. Dylan pre-streaming probably played Hoi 4 all day wearing a fur cap.
Thank you, Wenger. Listen, I gotta tell you guys something. When Dylan says, even though they were at the fore of they weren't struggling for the independence of some country called Taiwan. They were struggling for the independence of the indigenous population. It's so fucking stupid how people think a people and a territory are the same thing.
History, they're at the front and center. They were the first purge.
You know what this is like saying? This is like saying the Palestinians went to war with Egypt during the 6-Day War. That's like trying to say that Israel's war with fucking the Arab League alliance or whatever is the same as the fucking is similar to like some fucking revolt in the Ottoman Empire or some shit in that region. It's so fucking stupid. It's just such a stupid thing to have the fucking courage to say.
Against the Han Chinese, who are 99%.
They were the first purge by Chiang Kai-shek.
There's no continuity between. There's no continuity.
That's like saying the Bantu wars with the indigenous people of South Africa is an analogy for the Afrikaner war with it's the Dutch war in South Africa with fucking I don't know, Rhodesia. You know what I mean? It's like so fucking stupid. It's stupid. Because it's the same place, it means it's the same continuity of people and history.
Between the historical struggles of the Taiwanese indigenous population and the current Taiwanese independence movement, which
When
is
you talk-
overwhelmingly dominated by
Well,
Han
of course,
Chinese
it's
liberals.
overwhelmingly dominated by the Han Chinese because
And led by
it's because it's 98% of the population. But we're talking about a disproportionate
why-
amount in the military, specifically the special forces.
So why is there a
Also,
disproportionate amount in the special forces, but not a disproportionate amount in the independence movement?
in the independence movement, it is a disproportionate.
No, there isn't.
Yes, it is. Anyway,
What
move on.
percentage of indigenous people
I don't
support
know
the
the- I don't know the
independence
exact
movement?
percentage, but neither
it's
do
not. It's not.
I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm guessing it's very disproportionate. Okay, I'm gonna pee, guys. Be right back. Everyone who left is a fucking traitor. Everyone who left is a traitor.
Thirds.
Okay, tell me your percentage.
It's not 50%.
Tell me
It's
your
not
percentage.
two-thirds.
Tell me.
It could not be more than 20%.
Do you have any data for that? Any
I'm
source?
willing to risk everything by saying that.
Everything?
Yeah.
Wow. Even your soul?
Okay, I'm already doing that by debating you right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you are. Okay, so what was the second point you made? There was a second point besides that.
The second point was about the history of nation states and politics.
Okay, well, that wasn't what I was going to, but I'll
I
address
am
that
not
anyway.
looking at chat on the shitter, to be honest. I'm not on the shitter. Okay, I was on the shitter, okay? But nothing happened. I was just like, I just had some gas.
So, even if we were to disregard all historical basis for Taiwan being an independent nation when it comes to its long struggle of independence, let's just talk about modern history then. The people of Taiwan struggled against Chiang Kai-shek's White Terror, and if any of you don't know what the White Terror is, the White Terror...
This is the most irrelevant, stupid bullshit ever, and Dylan still doesn't understand this.
Chatter donated $5. Taiwan's population density would make a military altercation very difficult for the US if China were to occupy Taiwan even partially. The US for sure would end up killing Taiwanese civilians in the process. Neocon input leads to neocon results.
And that would be the only reason for refugees, is if the US intervenes. But anyway, and thank you for the 5. Appreciate it. But anyway, as I was saying, oh yeah. What Dylan doesn't understand is that if they have fought for democracy against the KMT, that doesn't address, that's not the basis for a state being sovereign. For a state to be sovereign, it's based in the military. So when you say they fought, they didn't fight with arms to secure their own state. They had a little bullshit color revolution light. So what? That doesn't change the underlying geopolitical reality at all.
Was a system of purges that Chiang Kai-shek and his sons, until about 1987, from about 1950, I forget exactly when it started, purged independence advocates and opposition to the government.
Based. You want to know why Mao respected Chiang Kai-shek and vice versa? Because both believed in one China, okay? And Chiang did a lot of bad shit, but he didn't only do bad shit, okay? Purging those independence people, well, I don't know. I can't advocate for that. Well, it depends on what's meant by purged, of course.
They were scared that this would jeopardize their ability to reconquer the mainland of China, since most of the independence struggle didn't really have any interest in invading the Chinese.
You know, the Communist Party of China is a successor to the KMT. Do you guys know that? The Communist Party of China is a split from the KMT, like a successor. And it's like a faction of the KMT. And you know the KMT still exists in China, and it's a party that's a lot recognized it's one of the 8 parties that exist in China. Of course, Sun Yat-sen is still respected in China. Of course he is. He's like the father of modern China.
Mainland and reconquering. And so they purged them. Hundreds of thousands were purged, to be exact. And those people struggled for years until the 1990s when they were eventually able to actually get a democracy. And that history of struggle is the history of modern Taiwan, struggling against the authoritarian system of government that was in place. And then they were able to institute a liberal democracy, which they have to this day. Do you disagree with the fact that
Of course I disagree.
It's not a liberal democracy?
The military might of the Kuomintang is the foundation of Taiwan as having any political independence from the mainland whatsoever. It is the arms taken up by the KMT that has secured that, and it is for the same reason that is the arms of the special forces that you're talking about, made up by the pro-KMT loyalists, I mean, the KMT are the ones who are securing the political independence in the first place. If these liberals want to go and have democracy, their democracy has not secured any.
You're not addressing
the liberal democracy you're talking about.
So this is something Dylan loves to do. Is he loves to give narrative in real time, instead of actually demonstrate. So, for example, he'd be like, "Haas, I just want to let you know you're fumbling," as if he speaks for God, as if he speaks for the audience, as if he speaks for the truth. Haas, you're fumbling right now. Haas, I just want to let you know you're fumbling. Like, he's acting like he's a neutral moderator and a debater. And that's also something he did when it came to the fighting shit. Haas, you don't want to straight back. Bro, I told you, outside, you know what I mean? But he just he gives narratives instead. He runs his big mouth. That's all he does.
Has no basis in any sovereign power.
Okay, I don't.
It has no basis in any military
you're not
power.
addressing my
the
points.
same power that made Taiwan possible as a separate state in the first place is something the liberal Democrats have no stronghold in whatsoever. Okay. So it is only on the basis of the ideals of the KMT and the view that there is one China that has kept Taiwan separate from the mainland in the first place.
Okay, you're floundering, but. When it comes to...
Can you address the point that I'm floundering?
You never addressed my point.
What's your point?
My point was that the modern history of Taiwan...
You're floundering. You're fumbling. You're floundering. Oh my God, Haas. You're floundering and you're fumbling. He just gives narrative. Here's the truth about Dylan. Dylan doesn't want to be a fighter. He wants to be a commentator. He wants to be like Joe Rogan or a WWE commentator. He just wants to commentate and narrativize things. This guy can't put up anything. He can't actually just do. He just has to give commentary, you know? He's not even debating. He's giving commentary about the fucking debate we're in then and there, you know? If I waste my time with this MMA shit and actually do it, which I plan to, right now is the plan is to. You know when I win? I'm not going to be like happy, whatever. I'm going to actually be even more fucking pissed at all of you for making me waste my time to prove something I already know didn't need to be fucking proven. And I'm going to take out my anger on you, the audience. I just want you to know that. No, I'm not threatening. Guys, shut the fuck up. You know we're on Twitch. I'm saying I'm gonna be even more bad on stream, and I'm gonna be more unforgiving, and I'm gonna be more going against the world, whatever. You know, it's not gonna be happy time. But yeah, I pretty much have to do it now.
When it comes to the population, is a history of struggle against the authoritarian system that Chiang Kai-shek...
But insofar...
Let me finish, please.
But first you have
I'm not going to let you talk.
I heard what you said. I heard what you said.
I'm not finished.
Definitely, if I win, I'm going to become a much worse person overall.
Finish.
Is hard to be, but I'm ready for it.
Just go ahead, Dylan. Finish.
I will finish.
Yeah.
And you'll be quiet.
Wait, really? Will I be quiet?
Yeah, you will be quiet.
On bond of what?
So, this is where things start to spiral, right? He says, oh, well, you'll be quiet. Dylan, I'm not your friend Kyle. I'm not your friend Tyler. When you tell a fully grown Arab Lebanese man, you will be quiet, it's not going to turn out well for you.
Me, because I'm talking, because it's a debate.
See how he backpedaled? And you're going to be quiet. And I called his bluff. Or what, bitch? And then he goes, well, we're in a debate and we're talking. This is how these snakes work. By snakes, I mean these political whatever people. I don't mean a group. This is how they work. First he says, and you'll be quiet. And then if I would have just sat there and taken that, the people in the comments would have all been like, Haas is a bitch. Dylan just put him in his place. But then when I call his bluff and say, or what, bitch? He goes, Haas, I mean, it's just a discussion. I didn't mean anything by it. Zero skin in the game, but they want all the consequences. They want all the fruits of the glory of dominating an opponent, but they don't want to deal with having the skin in the game that's necessary to actually do that. Understand?
conversation.
Okay.
You gotta let
Don't sit here and say you will be quiet.
Well, then be quiet.
I'm not gonna fucking be quiet.
Be quiet.
If you tell me to be
Jesus
quiet,
Christ.
I won't be. How about that?
Okay, you won't be?
No.
Okay, then yell, please.
Yeah. So what you're basically saying, that's okay. You can keep yelling.
No, and I'll keep
you
talking.
can keep
So the
fucking yelling.
KMT
You can keep fucking.
The history of democracy.
Listen.
The history of democracy.
That history of democracy was
okay?
first you had the KMT.
The B movie is an amazing
So
movie.
why wasn't it?
And I suggest that everybody
Why didn't
go
that
watch it.
democracy movement extend to the main?
I wasn't paying attention to the 12 people in the audience. Whoever laughed at the B movie joke is the biggest fucking loser of all time. If you're watching this and you were in the audience and you laughed when he said the B movie joke, you are actually a fucking, I can't call you the word, but let's just say you were bullied in high school, you were a loser in high school, you were considered a weirdo, and it's really sad. Imagine crying about your loss to Dylan. Okay, one's if I destroyed Dylan, two's if I lost. So this person can see the truth. So you're saying I lost, but this swarm of people in my chat are saying otherwise. This swarm of people in my chat are saying otherwise. So it's your word against them. My army says otherwise. You coping bitch.
Because
it's a separate fucking territory.
Exactly.
It's a separate territory. No, it's not. It's a separate territory.
He's saying because of the cultural difference. Do you think geopolitical sovereignty is based on culture or military? So fucking stupid.
It's a separate territory because it's a separate territory.
Do you notice when he does this banging shit, there's no effect on me? I don't even pay attention to it.
It's a separate territory.
And then I give him the death stare and he fucking backs down a little bit. He's like, his heart jumps a little bit when I give him that Arab death. This is like the stare. If you have an Arab dad, and listen, if you have an Arab father, you know what this stare is, right? You know what this stare is because you can keep bothering, and then when they give you that stare, yeah, you fall in line. He did. For a moment, at least.
Because the KMT secured it as such.
Okay, calm down.
Yeah. See how he calmed down and he did, yeah! And then I gave him the stare and he just stopped. Let's actually play that back. Body language.
It's a separate territory because the KMT.
And then I look him right in the eyes for doing that disgusting fucking, I can't say it because it's ableist, shit. I just give him that fucking look. Like, what the fuck do you think you're doing, kid, on my table? I look him in the eyes once, and then look what he does.
He secured it as such.
Okay.
He calms down. Actually, when he says calm down, what he actually is doing is projecting the fact that he just had to calm down after I gave him that stare. You don't do this shit to me, Dylan. I'm right here, right next to you, Dylan. It's not the internet. And when I give you that look, you're gonna fucking stop. And he did.
Calm down.
Yeah, that's the only reason it's a fucking separate territory in the first place.
Stop swinging out and calm down, okay?
You're a time waster. You bullshit and waste time.
You're not letting me speak.
You're a fucking...
Dad, you're not letting me speak. Dad, you're not letting me speak. Dad, why don't you recognize me, Dad? Recognize me, Dad. I don't recognize you. I don't respect you. You're nothing. You're nobody. You've made nothing for yourself. I don't respect you. I don't recognize you. Dad, acknowledge me. Guys, this is a psychoanalytic analysis. You have to understand what's going on. He's begging for recognition. I'm not giving him any. It's not an act by me. I'm not doing it intentionally. I sincerely do not recognize him.
Time waster.
You need to shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ.
Go ahead, say your piece.
My God. Okay. So, the history, finally, for the fifth time, the history of modern Taiwan is a history of struggle against political authoritarianism, particularly Chiang Kai-shek, okay? Okay?
Look, I do this shit. He's not going to do shit in person. He don't do shit. You look him in the eyes, this guy don't do shit.
Chiang Kai-shek He did a white terror against the people of Taiwan.
This guy's in it. This is what he like was begging to talk about and begging to get out so badly, and it turns out to literally be what I just said was a waste of time.
And they fought for their freedom, and
because it's not fucking relevant.
They earned it through blood and sacrifice.
He's basically trying to say that Taiwan earned its sovereignty because the democracy struggle was like the Hegelian master-slave dialectic battle for recognition, prove your life type of thing. Except that's something that's only proven militarily, through military means. So no, you don't gain sovereignty because you had a color revolution. Just because you had a little movement doesn't mean you gain sovereignty. A lot of leftists have this idea that like, oh, there was a struggle and there was bloodshed. That doesn't mean you have sovereignty. Sovereignty means you have the state and the military, through the military, as a matter of fact. The Taiwan democracy movement is not grounds for sovereignty.
Sacrifice against
because you still don't have the military.
The government, and for the last 30 years they've upheld a democracy, which through that democracy and
beautiful democracy,
the consent of the governed,
democracy used to mean different things. But in 2022, as far as like what this word means in America, democracy can suck my cock. Fuck democracy. Fuck democracy. Fuck democracy. Listen, there's a place for the word democracy historically. But I'm Plato, the Republic. Understand? I don't give a fuck about democracy.
They have been able to elect democracies and politicians who represent their
Platonic patriarch communist versus soy liberal. You know what I mean? Like
interests. And the vast majority of the people within Taiwan support continuing the status quo. And second, if you were to follow the status quo, is the independence when you check polling. The reason why they choose the status quo currently over independence is purely because if they were, and I agree with Haas on this, to declare independence right now, they would be bombed to shit. And
no, they wouldn't. They would not be bombed to shit at all. China would just probably send troops and occupy the island. Why would China bomb Taiwan in any significant capacity? No, they fucking wouldn't. It's pure American imperialist projection, because when America has problems with people, they just go in and annihilate them. That's not how China works. Yeah, it's pure American imperialist projection. It's pure American imperialist projection. America did that to Iraq, a country it has no relationship to geopolitically or historically. Who is an American imperialist to talk about what China does with Taiwan? Yeah, it takes 36 hours for China to fully occupy the island. But it has to, for some reason, it has to bomb. It has to use bombs. Why?
Millions would die. It would be a
I kind of missed that part.
Workers Patriot donated $5. My Russian tutor grew up in Soviet Uzbekistan. Her mother still lives there and said if this is what you call democracy, it's not for me.
Thank you, Patriot, for the 5. Appreciate you. Millions would die. If China occupied Taiwan in 36 hours, millions would die. Millions would die, guys. Apparently, millions would die. Oh my god.
Disaster. That's a terrible thing.
What? Apparently, China is going to quote, bomb the shit out of Taiwan. We don't know why, though, because it's like, why would you say this?
By the way,
he clearly doesn't know anything about militaries or wars in the 21st century, if this is what he's saying. Or for that matter, at any point in history. If you think that the strategy for China's invasion of Taiwan is going to involve killing a lot of people, you just don't know anything about how war works.
that a nation and its people declaring independence, even though it's already independent, would
South
result in a bombing and destruction of a sovereign people with its own identity, culture, language that has started and continues to separately develop from the Chinese. Let's talk about that. What is the current evil that the Chinese government...
When you secede from a sovereign...
You see, he doesn't understand any scientific understanding of politics or sovereignty. He says, what is the evil? Evil has nothing to do with it. When you secede from a modern state, the modern state's it's an act of war, okay? Morality has nothing to do with it.
Sovereign territory.
You asked me a question.
The sovereign is not.
You asked me a question. You got to be able to respond to the question, Haas.
Yeah.
Okay. So the difference between the Confederacy and when we talk about this,
the evil is this from the Chinese perspective. It is.
See, why does he get mad when everyone understands the point? What the point you're trying to say is that, well, the Confederacy was upholding slavery. Okay. You see how he gets frustrated because he wants to waste my time? He just wants to waste my time. This is what I mean by a time waster. We get the fucking point. What, because I'm in a psychoanalytic sense, he is experiencing symbolic castration. He is experiencing a castration of his jouissance to speak. He wants to speak, and I'm castrating his ability to. This really goes back to the father thing. This honestly goes back to the father thing. I am a father figure to him.
Cutting off a piece of China and basically submitting it to foreigners. Wow. China has endured the century of humiliation. It remembers the century of humiliation. China will never submit to the dominance of Anglo-Saxon imperialists, and it will refuse this on bond of war. So, if Taiwan were to commit so-called independence from China, it would become a satellite state of the Americans. China's not going to tolerate a piece of its territory being cut off. If people try to take China's territory, they're going to be met with a swift response.
It's interesting that I say people. When the people we're talking about are the people who live there. Those are the people who would want it to be a sovereign nation. It's not the Americans coming in and invading.
They don't.
Just shut the fuck up, please.
They don't.
You gotta let me speak, okay? My God, fucking Jesus. Okay, so the people there, overwhelmingly, and there's no data you can provide that rejects this, do not want to be part of the mainland government under any circumstances.
That's not true.
That doesn't mean they want independence. Holy fuck.
6%, only 6% of the population actually want reunification eventually or immediately with the mainland government. Only 6%. That means 94%. The data you're going to cite, I don't know what it's from. If it's from the Beijing Times.
Why should I trust the Taipei Times but not the Beijing Times?
Okay, tell me what's wrong with the Taipei Times. I can tell you about the state funding that comes for certain news publications that publish the data.
There's no difference. So my source versus your source.
I'm just talking about the funding. That's the difference.
Okay, what's the funding difference?
The Taipei Times isn't funded by the Taiwanese government.
Oh, it's just funded by private corporations that...
It's even worse than private corporations. It's funded by Radio Free Asia and the NED. That makes it significantly less reliable than if it were to be funded by the Taiwanese government, which at least probably has a vested interest at arriving at a more neutral conclusion for Taiwan. It's being funded by foreign sources that have an agenda for Taiwan. The Taiwanese government will be a far better source than the sources of funding for the Taipei Times.
Prop up the government.
Okay, so there's no source that I could source you.
First of all, there's 2 points because you weaseled your way out of the first one. Then I'm going to address the second one. The first point is simply this: you're giving this sob story about the history of democratic struggle within Taiwan. Yeah. All of that still rests.
Thank you, XSUFBX. Thank you.
Upon the foundational bedrock of true sovereignty in the true Hobbesian, Carl Schmitt sense of sovereignty, as in being able to enforce a state of exception, which is the KMT's military might. They have not changed this foundation, and the KMT its founding mission was based on one China. Now, the second thing we're talking about is which sources are, with the polling data. Polls have shown that the majority of, it is true, people in Taiwan want to maintain the status quo. But as far as the Taiwanese people, whether they want to along the road eventually become independent or along the road want to join with China, both of these are smaller than the percentage who say they either don't care or they would not care either way. So what you're saying is patently wrong. Both of these people, eventually independence or eventually unification, both are a small minority of Taiwan's population.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the first thing is on this Hobbesian nerd shit, okay?
You don't get to sit here in the nerdiest room of all of America, being the biggest nerd on the fucking... And let me be clear about something. I was never a nerd in high school. Dylan was sincerely the nerd. He cared about the teacher and the student body organizations, and he's a nerd. He is a nerd. I've met him in person, okay? He is 100% a fucking nerd. I am a fucking philosopher warrior. Do you understand? There's a fucking difference. Meaning, I actually know my shit. I don't dwell in nerd shit. I know my fucking shit. I care about this stuff. I actually care about it. Okay? I don't care about this nerd. This is why I hate nerds. I don't hate nerds because they care about thought. I hate nerds because they dwell in the inability to resolve anything through thinking. Nerds dwell in a state of permanent fucking wonder and uncertainty as far as the conclusions of thought are concerned. Nerds are all pseudo-intellectuals. They're all pseudo-intellectuals, and they dwell in this fake version of intellectualism, but they never actually take these things to their conclusion. So, for example, I'm here talking about Carl Schmitt and Hobbes and stuff, right? Taking thought to the edge of its use. Nerds are like, oh, you're a nerd for that. This is the definition of throwing stones in glass houses. Sorry, it's even a better term. Let me put it this way. Imagine if you're in an orgy, a furry orgy, and then some guy walks in who, I don't know, is wearing like a BDSM suit. And the furry walks over to him and he goes, I don't care about this degen shit. What are you doing in that room then? You're already in the thick of it. You may as well take it to its conclusion because you're already in you're literally right there in the thick of it. Do you understand? So when Dylan sits here, he's like, I don't care about this nerd shit. Dude, we're not at a club right now. We're not at a fucking bar. We are talking about this purely whatever intellectual. You know what I mean? Like, who are you to fucking posture as a normie right now? You can't fucking posture as a normie right now. You're anything but normal. You gotta understand the dialectic of normies versus like, I don't know, political whatever fucking people. What makes someone a nerd is not having a genuine passion in a certain topic or subject matter that happens to be fringe. What makes someone a nerd is the fact that they don't recognize that it's not fringe. A nerd is someone who's like thinks they're totally a normie, who's very different from normal people. But if you have a passion for something that's not normal, that normal people don't, and you're able to recognize that, and you're not going to be a nerd because you're going to know the difference. You're not going to like talk about this shit at a club or a bar or when you're talking to girls or whatever the fuck. You're going to be able to separate them because you know that they're not the same thing, but you genuinely have a passion for it anyway. You know what I mean? So Dylan is legitimately a nerd.
So I don't care about any of that. I'm going to be...
What a badass. I hate when these pseudo-intellectuals go, you know what, I don't care about this nerd shit. But you're already in the thick of some fucking bullshit anyway. You're not at a club right now. You're not at a, you know what I mean? You're already in the thick. This is what these fucking Marxists on Twitter do. Right? On Twitter, they'll be like, Marx this, Marx that. And then I will quote them Marx's words from his early writings. They're like, I don't care about this nerd shit. You better fucking care about it because you're already in the thick of bringing up Marx. If you don't care, don't act like you're a normal person when you're not. Don't act like you're a normal fucking person when you're not. It's the worst thing in the world. I hate it so much. I hate when people posture as normies when they're not fucking normies. In context. I hate when people posture as fucking normies. Hey guys, I want you to look at the average Dylan viewer. This is actually a Dylan fan. What is up with this satanic fucked up shit? He's literally talking about the R-A-P type of word. And that's what they fantasize over. That's what these people Why do leftists, by the way, these new neocon weird leftists have this weird fantasies? It's so disturbing. It's so fucking disturbing. Very disturbing. Very disturbing. Do my fans ever say that shit? Fuck no. Look, I can't tell you the truth about what that statement means because it's not allowed on Twitch for me to talk about it. But, he's banned in my chat. He said he'd talk to me. He's just banned in my chat. He can't chill in my chat.
Completely honest. What I care about...
But, what's a Discord we can meet in? I don't know. Shared Discord we can meet in? I don't fucking know. You'd meet in a shared Discord, maybe. I don't know.
Educated.
Okay, elitism.
Just like you don't care about China's history.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Okay, so the thing is, I can care about one thing and one thing only here, and that's the consent of the governed.
You understand how fucking hilarious this is? He goes, I don't care about this nerd shit. And then he goes and talks about the consent of the governed. So if you talk about the consent of the governed, I literally brought up Carl Schmitt. And you said the consent of the governed. Maybe Carl Schmitt is a little bit relevant as far as that whole thing is concerned.
And as a patriotic...
That's based on philosophy. You don't want to talk about Hobbes or Carl Schmitt, then don't talk about abstract philosophical principles.
My God.
Like the consent of the
going.
government.
Just keep fucking...
Oz, I just want to be able to spout dogmas without anyone questioning them. I just want to be able to take this bullshit I learned in college for granted with no pushback.
Going.
I contest your foundational political philosophy.
And I don't care.
You're trying to impose a state. If you don't care, then don't fucking debate.
Well, then don't talk to me. If you don't want to talk to me, if you don't think this...
If you want to run...
He's the one who said he don't care. I'm here to debate. Ready to debate. And look how absurd he looks.
Walk out the room. Walk away.
Why is he telling me to walk out of the room when he's the one bitching? He's bitching about the debate, and I'm actually making points, and he's telling me to walk out of the room. You gotta walk out, you fucking idiot! Hypothetically. I'm not calling anyone an idiot, but hypothetical, someone who would say that. Because you are an idiot. And you're a fucking degenerate.
You can walk out because I'm talking.
If you're in the right in your position as merit, why do you interrupt so much? I talked about this yesterday. I interrupted so much because I don't respect Dylan. I don't respect him, and all of my interruptions were vindicated. He was just wasting time. The point was already absorbed, and there was no need for him to waste time by running his mouth, enjoying his own speech. Like, the point was already absorbed. There's nothing he would have said that would have made a difference.
Talking about what I want to talk about.
But it's my turn.
When I gave him the chance to speak, he literally just said this shit that's like, okay, point is already taken. Well, I don't know why you're saying this shit again.
To care. I don't care.
It's my
I
turn
don't
to
care.
talk.
I don't care. I don't care. Then walk out.
My God, you yell
Here's where the boxing shit started.
a lot for a guy who's dodging a boxing match.
I'm dodging the.
Look how everyone starts talking and they just say, fucking peanut gallery of I can't talk. Being a man is not to allow the conic village to dictate how you conduct yourself. Dennis, unlike you, my time is worth something. My time is worth something. Ooh, this is so scandalous.
Fucking boxing
Yes,
match.
you are.
Really?
Why did he bring that up? You see how he just brought that up because he lost the fucking debate? Specifically on the whole thing about Carl Schmitt and stuff. When he found out that I'm going to bring in a topic that when you guys say F, do you mean the stream ends or you're just experiencing buffering? Because those are very different things. I wish all language was allowed on Twitch because I have a specific word I want to call Meikoim that's not allowed on Twitch. And it's just such an adequate word. It's such an adequate word, right? Okay, there's a big delay, guys. That's a big delay. There's a big delay. Yeah, is it in sync? Thank you, Imperator. One's in chat if you can hear this. One's in chat if you can hear this. Okay. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Good. So the rest of this video is not suitable for Twitch. I don't think. But you can, well, I guess you can watch it elsewhere. I don't know if I can like advocate for watching. I don't know. Fucking rules, right? But that's how it started. That's how that whole fucking thing started. Okay. Now, someone told me Dylan's giving a story on his stream about how I first met him. So I'm gonna tell you how I first met Dylan. Okay. Saturday, I after stream, twos if you can hear me right now. I don't know why you're fucking spamming one. Okay, stop spamming one then. Stop spamming one. Saturday, after I streamed, I went down to look at Destiny's debate and just, I don't know, check it out, see what was going on. And I was walking around and apparently Dylan was standing right in the back and there was a book thing and I was just walking past him. Keep in mind, that's how much this person's just not noticeable. Also, they were wearing a mask. And Dylan was the only person wearing a mask in that entire room. That is something I did notice. He was the only person wearing a mask in the whole fucking room. So I walked past him, not noticing him. And finally, I walked back past him, just, you know, walking around the room and shit. And, you know, I'm kind of circling around. And he finally says, infrared. And I turn around and I see him. And I'm like, oh, Dylan Burns. And he puts out his hand and shakes it. And I thought about, do I want to shake this hand or not? And I said, okay, whatever. We don't really have any major beef. I said, okay. I said, hey, we're going to box, huh? And then he said, he's like, one day. Well, what do you mean one day? I thought we're going to, you know, what do you mean one day, right? Because I think he maybe had second thoughts when he met me in person. So I thought it was funny. And I'm like, so we're going to box, huh? Like some shit like that. And then I laughed. I was like, because I thought like, this is the guy who wants to box me, you know, in person. This is the guy who wants to box me. I didn't do it aggressively. I did it like I didn't do it in an aggressive way. I just did it in like a fucking funny way. I was just like a comedian. I don't know. I was just like, yeah, like that. And then I laughed. Looking back, it was a really aggressive, passive aggressive thing to do because like he probably felt humiliated, but I just didn't really take him that seriously, you know. And I saw him in person. I'm like, this is the guy who wants to fucking box me. So yeah, I did do that, and I don't know what I think. I didn't talk to him because I have nothing to talk to him about, you know. I was like, yeah, whatever. It was one day. But seeing him in person did give me second thoughts about the boxing thing because it's just the training thing is the only issue. But in person, let me just put it this way. If I boxed and trained for 6 months, it would be the most brutal fight in the history of fucking celebrity boxing. It would be very, 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 very ugly and brutal. And it was pretty tempting, to be honest. But it still would require a lot of time. Again, boxing, usually you don't start fighting until after a year, right? But you know how I work magic. Maybe I could do it half, you know? You got to get 3 months for leg work. You got to do all this it's a very technical fucking sport, you know? But wow, physically seeing him in person, it's yeah. He's hard to take seriously. Why are you scared to box Dylan? Why do you ask questions that are fucking wrong? I'm scared to box Dylan. I refuse to dedicate 6 months of my time for Dylan. I'll dedicate 1 or 2 months, not 6. I'm gonna put him before my streaming career? Shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot. Why are you scared to box Dylan? I was surprised how short you were today. Dylan wasn't. Dylan wasn't in person, by the way. I literally pressed Dylan the minute I met him. Oh, so you want to box, huh? And he literally goes, "Oh, one day." He's like, I didn't actually know that you were. I didn't actually know you looked scary in person, Haas. I thought it's just a projection on the internet. I didn't know you looked so aggressive and scary in person. So why won't you do it? MMA. We're doing MMA. Because MMA takes less time for me to train. Simple. If you think there's a like if I had 6 months of training, it's that fucking easy, right? But is it worth it? Let me put it this way. Okay. I'm going to explain this with airtight logic, then do it. What do I fucking gain then? You have to use your head. Okay? Let's say there's an 8-year-old living in Cambodia. And they give you a message on the internet saying, fight me. And you have Arnold, you look like John Cena. You're John Cena living in California, except you're broke. And this 8-year-old in Cambodia wants to fight you. If you don't want to fly all the way to Cambodia to do it, does that mean you're scared? And that is literally the analogy. Does that mean you're scared? You just saw him. And I can't understand, I can't comprehend an analogy of space, distance versus time. So flying all the way to across the world is the same thing for me as training for 6 months. Training does not have anything to do. Training just means you learn to lock down the rules and the techniques. It has nothing to do with raw aggression. period, or fortitude, or willpower, or all that shit that actually does make a difference. All training considered equal. Okay? Fuck training. If you can take him, just do it. Then why should I follow boxing's very specific technical rules? I think he would rock you. I want to like really make that 95% it's going to happen to 100. See you fucking people fucking suck my cock. I cannot wait. Oh my fucking god. It's gonna feel so fucking good. Holy fuck. Holy fucking shit. Fuck. I'm so ready to touch down to Michigan, get to work. I'm so fucking ready. I'm so fucking ready. Just make Dylan agree, you both. He literally said no to that. He literally accused me of threatening him when I insinuated something like that. So I had to back off of that because Dylan, immediately played victim and ran to the manager. If you watch the fucking VOD, he ran to the manager crying. Yeah, the narrative is whatever they want it to be, but you know why I'm still here thriving? Because it doesn't matter what they want the fucking narrative to be. The truth is still here. Somehow the truth just comes out anyway. He's living in your head rent free. He's literally talking about me on stream right now. I was literally just responding to some bullshit story he told his fucking chat. I saw Dylan's a shitty boxer, but what most people don't understand is even if he's a shitty boxer, he knows the rules and the technique. Now, when he's competing, he's shit at it. He's total shit. But he's got the legwork technique and he knows the bread and butter rules. Let me put it this way. Riding a two-wheel bicycle. Who's that guy, Neil Armstrong? So when Neil Armstrong, if he never learned how to ride a bicycle, two wheels, and he always needed training wheels, a 5-year-old who knows how to ride with two wheels would be better than him. There's like a baseline technique you have to get down before who's truly better comes out. The only time that doesn't happen is when it's a street fight. Dylan's watching it. Not 10 minutes later, he was talking about this fucking bullshit in the hotel room or in the hotel conference room. Shut the fuck up, fucking liar. And of course, he's watching a Destiny debate because that's the only way he gets views. Not Lance Armstrong, the other guy who cheated with steroids, whatever his fucking name is. I don't know who he is. Yeah, of course he has to fucking cover Destiny because that's all he fucking has. Even when I was streaming with Destiny, I didn't even know that he's this popular. I get 2,000 views. What the fuck? Okay, I mean, it's really not worth shitting my stream up, obsessing over Destiny to get his viewers. It's just not. Okay? Destiny's, I don't really have an issue with him. I just don't consider him that important, to be honest. Like, to be obsessed over, I just don't. You can do anything you want to. I saw what Peter Wiley did, and I think I might contact the modern day debate people to take down his video. But it's, you know, Peter Wiley fell off. He fell off. He's a failed uploader. And that's what happens when you try to be a fucking fence shitter. You could do anything you want to. Yeah, it's really Peter salty, if we're being honest. Who Oh shit. Okay, guys, it's been like a fucking 6-hour stream. And I know we didn't have much
Write it off as an
content.
expense. Can I do that?
We didn't have much content this stream. But I'm gonna get to uploading some stuff. And then in terms of content, I'm gonna set up Professor Haas. We're gonna get into that soon. Puda, those debates are boring as shit though, let's be honest. Professor Haas, that's gonna be in the works. Also, we got a collab, an IRL collab with the streamer. What about Mr. Girl debate? We'll do it tomorrow. Or I don't know, the IRL might be tomorrow, I don't know. We'll do it another time, you know. He's gonna be here a long time apparently. But that's gonna be a surprise, you know. I'm not even gonna announce that when it happens. Alright guys, we're gonna raid Frogan. Even though it's like she's becoming a little too famous, to be honest. She's becoming a little bit too famous and successful, I'm not gonna lie. So I kind of feel like, I don't know. But we will raid her anyway. Because although she never came to the showdowns, you know? Hold on. Yeah, fuck it, we'll just raid her. You and anything. Goodbye, guys.